Hello and welcome to the Hitout. I'm your host, Phoenix Trinidad, and if you are new here, this is Zero Hangers weekly AFL podcast where we talk about everything in the footy world. So there's heaps to talk about this week coming out of the closest round in over 5 decades. I definitely only just learned that live on the pod. Should the Showdown be a standalone time slot? I think so. Should we have extra time? I don't think so. We also respond to your questions in the mailbags and a couple of your hot takes. And which Aussie athletes from other sports would you like to see in the AFL? There's heaps of stuff to talk about in this episode. It's a good one. Let's get to it. All right, we are here with Mitch Keating, chief editor,
How are you?
AFL editor.
That's it.
Zero Hanger.
One of them.
Right, and Aidan Cellini.
I haven't heard that for a few weeks.
I know.
I like it each
we
week.
haven't had this combination in a little while.
It's been
No.
pre-gather round.
How'd you guys go last week without me?
Oh, the best time ever.
Yeah.
Have you not seen the numbers?
The dynamic duo.
I didn't listen. I'll be
Million
honest.
views on.
I've been busy. You know, I'm running the ship on
They
two
were
different
finally waiting for
channels.
you to leave.
Whatever. I'm the only one that brings some light into this podcast. All right, closest round in over 5 decades. Is that wait, 5 decades?
It's like you,
Really?
you read it without taking it in, and then you
Clearly,
took it
yeah, it's the Ron Burgundy situation. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
read what's on the rundown. But is that really the closest round in over 5
in.
decades?
Yeah, I think it was average margin was
10.3.
something like that. Like the last 6 games of the round were all 10 points or less, and then you had the draw on Sunday. So I think it was 1970 was
Yeah.
the last time we had such a close round. I bet in the 18 team comp, it's still like, I know it's averages, but to have the 9 games all decided by that average margin is it was just a very entertaining week. Well, it started off a bit not boring, but like first couple of games were 4 or 5
Okay.
goals or whatever.
Well, Melbourne ruined the average.
Well,
Everyone
more
was
like
15
Hawthorn
points and that's
average.
Yeah,
I want to say Melbourne to you.
Yeah, but no, we don't need to talk about that game. But like, it just the game's in a good spot. I know everyone like complains about the umpiring and everything, but I think the equalization is actually pretty good.
The last 2
I
years
like
have
it.
been 2 of the best years I can remember.
Yeah,
People talk about quality of game. I think that's fine. Like obviously the defensive side of things can make it a bit boring, but I think the last 2 years and what we've had and how close the seasons have been, and this could be another one where it's really tight all the way through to the finals.
I do think there is another part to this, is that we're having one of the because usually at this point in the season it's meant to be winter, or we're getting into winter and the game is to slow down or whatever. But we've been having a really global warming and everything, but we've been having a hotter
It's like a
autumn
delayed
or whatever?
Yeah.
summer and then
delayed
autumn.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe our finals are going to be bad, but I don't know. I kind of like it.
We're
If
not
there's
really-
one positive to global warming, it's a better football season.
Well,
in
yeah,
general.
cleaner football. We obviously haven't hit the straps of winter yet when it's raining, bit of mud on the footy boots and whatnot. But as a result of that, you probably get cleaner games, which sometimes create better display.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm just going to go against my own point though. But in winter, are the games generally closer, or do we have more blowouts?
Yeah, but like
'Cause
there's a
lower
difference.
scoring.
Like close games don't necessarily mean good games. Like you
Yeah.
just have terrible games and they're like 1 point.
we're talking about
difference.
close rounds though.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Let's say you have 9 of those games in the same weekend. No, but like you can have a terrible game, but the last 5 minutes are fun and cool because it's close. But they're really just atrocious,
Yeah,
like
like
standard.
Essendon North the other week. That was pretty
Yeah.
putrid watching, in Saints Freo as well. Not that was close, but in saying
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
sometimes not the
Yeah, but that's
greatest.
every Freo game at this point. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll be interested to see how those margins change when we come into winter. If we come into winter, at this point, who knows? So we'll get to a lot of the close games throughout the round. But let's start with the Showdown.
Yep.
Good game.
Very good game.
Had another weird bounce that only seems to happen in Showdowns. But
Yeah.
the big one there is I love Adelaide, and I think the Showdown should have a standalone time slot. I think a lot of people would
We're
agree.
about due for that, I think.
Yeah.
I think there'll be another one in the second half of the year, and I don't think they would have done the fixtures for that one yet.
No.
I think it's I think it's past round 15.
Mm.
So it'd be a good test because that'll be coming out soon. The AFL's end of year fixtures. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with it. I'd like to Friday night standalone is probably the best way to do it. You could try and fit in a Saturday standalone, but it'll be a bit of a quirky weekend with how they fit around all the other games. So yep, has to be. trying to balance between the two games on Saturday night was a bit tricky, especially when they're both so close. But yeah, I think it probably deserves a standalone fixture for sure.
Yeah, there's too much interest in it. I mean, clearly probably one of the long-standing rivalries, not necessarily the longest, but it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
And the fans over there, which you guys would have seen in South Australia gathering, they're an interesting bunch. So I think, just give them a slot, see how it pans out, because I think the last 6 or 8 contests as well, let alone how long they've gone, always been quite close.
Do you know when the second showdown is?
No. When it is,
like
I reckon it'd be like, it'd be round 18 or something.
Late
I'm just trying to
teens.
think of how where they're at, like how they market that game. So I think it's like Ken Hinckley's last shot at a showdown win.
Yeah.
I think.
So
What's his record in showdowns?
round 20. Round 20. I can get that for you.
Because I feel like he's done. I mean, all the showdowns are close, and it's whoever's game or whatever. But yeah, that might be.
He's 1-11 and lost 12. So the best he can do is tie it up.
Is break even. There you go.
Unless they both make finals.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's likely.
Gee, a showdown final would
but-
be good. Don't think they've had one of them for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
One many years ago, but
They don't make it finals.
Says the Melbourne fan.
Yeah, I never said that we are making. I mean, I actually have said that we're going to make finals. So, but anyway, again, we don't need to talk about that game. But the next one, so Suns, they're back to back. They're going back to back in Darwin. But first one's down. They beat. Oh my God,
Dogs.
they beat the
Dogs.
This
Dogs.
is what happens when you've
In
got the
Darwin.
showdown on in one game, and then
exactly.
the other game is on at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's
7-0.
that? 7-0 since they've made that their home ground.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, they've got the Hawks this weekend in their back-to-back little trip. Becoming that nice little mid-season bumper for them, what we've seen over the last few years when they head over to the NT and they get a week of training between those two games, and that'll certainly help them with preparations for the second game. So you think that the team coming up, they'll do so early. I think the Hawks are flying up or might have already flown up quite early for this one, just to get that preparation and acclimatise a little bit. But you'd think the Suns are probably favourites. Like, these are two really good contending clubs this year. But just the only difference might just be where it's being played.
Yeah. Suns and Darwin is also. That's my favorite, like, home away from home team thing. Where like you have like Hawks and North and Tassie and
Melbourne,
Giants,
Cairns.
Yeah, Giants and Canberra. They're pretty good there.
yeah.
What's your favorite?
Dogs in Ballarat.
Dogs in Ballarat is pretty
Dogs
good.
in
Actually.
Ballarat, yeah.
When they have more than 100 people.
Yeah, when the stadium like isn't being renovated.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's up there. But yeah, I think the Suns, as we mentioned, they kind of made that a bit of a fortress up there, which is awesome for them because they struggle kind of on the road. And I know it's not too far from their, I guess, home ground in the Queensland, but on Gold Coast. But yeah, obviously it's good for them. But it should be a cracking game this year, so with the Hawks.
I think it suits their vibe a lot. Like dogs in Ballarat is like it's just worked out to be well, but it doesn't really fit their. I don't know if it really fits their like
because like the
vibe.
Dogs are like just like the Western. So if someone's going to play Ballarat, it's them. So I kind of like the idea of not maybe changing the name to the Northern Suns, but like I think if they just have both the NT and Queensland and Far North Queensland as well would be cool up until we get an NT side. But you kind of just get the ball rolling a little bit in the NT and you get 2 games here is probably a good little. I think Dwayne Russell coined that a year or two ago when they had like a good run up in the NT and thought, why don't you kind of include that space, because they already get access to some of the NT kids already, so it's kind of already their zone for talent, and they already play there. So
Also, I don't mind just not having them tied to a location. Obviously, they have like you got to have a home base somewhere. Yeah, but I like them. Like I just call them the Suns. Like I don't really call them Gold Coast. Kind of like how in the NRL you have the Dolphins. Like technically they're based in Redcliffe, but they're just the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But could that be because of Melbourne distaste for Gold Coast alone?
A little bit, yeah. But
that's neither here or there.
All right, Essendon, Sydney. Do you want to take this one? Who did we learn more about?
Yeah, I reckon the Bombers. Like, I still haven't been able to get the greatest read on Sydney this year, but it was a really good win for the Bombers, just given absolute carnage on the injury front a week before, and they really have to look into getting 3 or 4 guys into this side. So they had some pretty good depth options. Unfortunate about Lewis Hayes, but Archer Daywicks looked like he had a pretty solid debut, nice little goal. But when you talk about guys stepping up and what Zach Reid was able to do, what Andrew McGrath was able to do in that back line for them, I think that just showed that they've got some pieces who can just change their role a little bit. Not that Zach Reid really went into a new role, but Andrew McGrath this year has played a lot more of a shutdown role. and on Saturday he just was able to be a bit more, ball in hand, a bit more attacking in Jordan Ridley's absence. So those two were among the best for the Bombers, and I think certainly just a big tick for them with when you do need to rely on depth. And who can stand up when you lose 3 or 4 guys to injury. That was just a very big positive, I thought, for Essendon in their win over the Swans.
I think that was also without major impact from Zach Merritt. I think his start to the year has been awesome, and he still had a big influence on the game. But I think James Jordan ran with him for a bit. He spent time forward to kind of break the tag. So they relied on Sam Dunn, Jai Caldwell through the midfield, even Will Setterfield as well, who was on Heaney for most of the afternoon. And as you mentioned, Zach Reed kind of popped up and did his thing, and Nick Martin continues to kind of build his AFL career. So I think
Nick Martin had 38 disposals. Yeah. Just quietly.
And normally he's good at accumulating, but sometimes it's whether he can damage with the ball in hand. On Saturday, I think he did a fair bit of that as well. So I think, that also the Swans being a little bit disappointing. And again, as you said, hard to get a good read on them, especially on the new coach, Dean Cox. I think the Bombers showed that they're around the mark between the 6th and 10th teams in the competition, which I think is where they are right now, with a game in hand also.
Where do you put Sydney? Because I have no idea what they're like.
Well, I had them grand finalists or premiers in the pre-season tip. Obviously, you lose Errol, Papley, Mills isn't playing, and you've got a couple others that probably just haven't had much of a look this year due to injury. It just hasn't quite clicked, and some things haven't aligned on the injury front. But I think they can still make the top 8. But, Errol's still a little bit away. Mills nearing a return. Taylor Adams is another one of those. Logan McDonald has just had another setback and is needing surgery. So I still think the team they have on paper without those guys is pretty solid, but it's maybe they're the bottom 6 kind of group is maybe what's pulling them back a little bit. And you replace those with probably 6 of your best dozen, and they're going to be back into contention. I would have thought. It just depends on how much time they're going to have in the back end of the season to make up for all they've fallen behind on.
I just think last year just proved how valuable having a healthy list is. I think they used maybe 27 or 28 players throughout the whole year, maybe give or take. But this year now they've obviously been obliterated by injuries and to key players as well. So they probably have to tuck into 30, 32, 33 players. And it just shows that you need that depth and you kind of need that management style where you can rely on players who mainly play in the reserves or VFL side to come and step up and do a role, kind of like what Collingwood did on the weekend. They backed in some guys who've been playing really well in the reserves, but they also play a role at AFL level while they manage some of their senior players. So the Swans, again, once they get their better players back, they should be in the mix. But as you said, maybe they might leave their run a little bit too late.
Yeah, you said something there before in terms of how good their list looks on paper. So who do you think is the team with the most discrepancy between what their list looks like on paper versus how they're performing?
Well, it could be Sydney, but I guess
there's Freo, there's Port.
There's
so many
Freo's
teams
probably the obvious one. Freo and Carlton have all, Carlton for the last 2 this year and last year have probably look at the quality. Again, when you look at their bottom 6, it's probably the concern. The top end is so good, but it's that next wave. But yeah, Freo's probably the obvious one, isn't it? They've just got A-grade players on every line. They've got 2 quality ruckmen, and look, they lose one. Luke Jackson steps up, and he's probably the better of the 2, so that's really helpful for them. Good key forwards, good small forwards, midfielders, small and tall backline. It's probably Freo by some distance as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, okay. I agree too.
Good question without notice though, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
I like that.
Mate,
you're getting better at this hosting.
This is literally my job.
You had a week off and you're back. You're refreshed.
We managed it.
Refreshed in the magic round. I think it's just suspending 2 weeks with NRL fans. West Coast versus Richmond's rebuilds.
This is just you.
Who put this in? Yeah, no.
Well, it's fascinating to see. You look at the 2 clubs. West Coast, tried to stay a little bit relevant, and they didn't quite work for them. And then they had to they've bombed out, obviously, but that's 3 years ago now. When they've gone to the draft the last 3 years, and then Richmond just hit the big red button last year. All right, rebuilding, we're losing these guys. We'll get 6-7 draftees in. And then already it looks like Richmond are ahead of West Coast in that kind of rebuild and direction and where they're heading. So it's just fascinating to compare the 2. And you look at the Eagles and the Tim Kelly trades. Obviously, it's one part that really hurt them. And then maybe a poor decision at the draft here or there. And then they've been playing catch up. And then Richmond, look at 2020 when they win the premiership. I think West Coast played finals the same year.
Yeah.
And then after that, the Tigers, they made finals the year after and then kind of fell out of it a little bit. But then West Coast fell even quicker. But then it looks like Richmond have just jumped up with much more speed just in how they've gone about their rebuild compared to West Coast.
Because the Eagles pressed that red button that you alluded to with maybe trading out Harley Reid, letting Oscar Allen go. I think Liam Ryan might be in the eyes of some teams or premiership contending teams. So, you might be able to get a first round or early second round for Liam Ryan. Harley Reid, we probably expect to be 2 or 3 first rounders. And Oscar Allen, you might get compensation within the first round. That could be 4 or 5 picks in the space of the top 40. Now, I know it might be compromised with all the NJs and father sons and whatnot, but, you get some decent young kids in with 4 or 5 picks and, Oscar Allen's pretty injured. Harley Reid looks disinterested. Liam Ryan's still doing Liam Ryan things, but he probably wants to go to a club that might contend for a flag. But you reckon they might be able to do that? Like Richmond did last year.
Yeah, I think like the Allen one makes sense, just where his game's at, and if they can get band one, like you pack his bags for him. I think Liam Ryan's probably a bit in between. Like, I think he can be good for some of the younger guys, but at the same time, if you can get the right value.
How old's Ryan?
Tick that off.
He'd be like late 20s?
Maybe 28, 29, I would have thought.
Yeah.
He's still got plenty of football ahead of him.
Yeah. But then again, he's one of those guys who have had a few injuries here and there, and, soft tissue after 30 can do a bit of damage. Reed's one. They just, I know you can get 3 first rounders for him, but I think they just have to, if they can, they'll keep him.
3 first rounders?
Yeah. Well, the term first rounder is like, it can mean pick 1, it can mean pick 30 this year. Like
Melbourne wanted him before he even played a game for that much. I think
for that,
it 2 picks in that draft and then a future
Yeah.
first round pick as well.
Yeah. So like it depends. Like not a lot of clubs can offer that either. But yeah, West Coast will want to.
Wait, can anybody offer that?
Essendon can. Gold Coast could, but they won't.
Well, they're bringing in an extra year of trading picks.
Yeah, that too.
Which
So
might help.
you kind of got to look at
in that sense.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. I'm not too worried about Reed's year this year.
No.
I think the second year Blues. Wait, the second year now? Yeah. Yeah. I think it's
We've
fine.
spoken about him at length, and it's only a year and a half.
Exactly.
Or even less, to be fair.
To be fair, we've spent maybe 4 years actually talking about
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Nah. I think pushing the big red button. Richmond, good. West Coast, they delayed it too long.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Stuffed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a draw.
There was a draw.
First one,
yeah.
Is that the first one of the year? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Extra time? We're going to talk about this every time there's a draw.
Yeah. Let's get it out of the way, shall we?
Extra time?
No.
No?
No.
I like a draw.
I like a draw. It's so rare.
I like the disappointment.
I
like
think I like the draw only because when you finally get a draw in the finals, then you get extra time and everyone's finally like, awesome.
Yeah. Builds it up.
Like there's one in every 10 years you're probably going to get a draw in finals, if that. So
I mean, we've only had extra time in finals once or twice, isn't it? There was a
twice
Port Adelaide West Coast.
Port Adelaide West Coast, and there was one 2007.
Yeah, Collingwood West Coast.
Was that one?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Scott Pennery coming of age game. It was his third year in, I think.
Yeah, I remember where I was watching it, but I don't remember who played. But Collingwood West Coast, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Marty Clark was still playing then, if you remember him.
Marty Clark.
An Irishman.
Good lord.
Left footer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow.
Iconic.
Well, maybe what is extra time? 15 minutes?
5 minutes each way.
5 minutes.
5 minutes each way.
I
actually can't remember.
It should be one of those. Maybe that's probably too long.
As in 5 minutes each way.
Yeah, just do like a 1 minute quarter.
Golden point.
Yeah, golden point. Just a couple of
wouldn't mind.
All you need is
golden
one set
point,
of clearance.
Golden point would be fun.
Yeah.
Just first score wins.
Or
if there's
just
advantage.
At the very least,
conditions.
bring in the weird rules for preseason again, so we can trial this sort of stuff, like the 9-pointers and
they don't. Players and coaches don't want to play more preseason. They already want to take away preseason.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to be playing anymore. I'm happy with if it hits the post, it comes back in. It's play on.
That's fine.
That'd be chaos.
9 pointers and everything. Like when Blitzars hits that post
That's a goal.
against GWS.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I actually don't know which way the ball went. If it came back in or if it went through the goals.
I think it went through the goals. I think it went inside of the goal post there.
If we think about the amount of highlights that would come from that, where if you hit a post and it comes back into play and then somebody gets a pickup or just volleyed off. Yeah,
would that be the same as a point post though? If it hits the point post and then comes back in?
Has to, doesn't
it?
Yeah.
And then you get rid of the stupid score reviews and stuff, whether or not
but then it's like, which way did it go? Yeah, I don't know if it makes it easier or harder, but
all right.
Chaos.
All right, new segment, weekly awards. So we're going to be doing this every week now. Everybody gets to hand out an award for something that you noticed throughout the round. And we're going to start with... Does that need any more explanation? I think that's it.
I think it's Aidan's one, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
we can
okay.
explain. Yeah. So first award off the cab off the rank is the Journeyman Award. So the Giants, since round one, and even opening round, but they started at NG, but round one they played at the MCG, UTAS Stadium, NG Stadium, Norwood for gather round, Adelaide Oval, Manuka.
Manuka.
Yeah. The SCG, and then most recently GMHBA Stadium. So they've played, in heaps of different venues.
Yeah.
In 7 out of 9 weeks.
Hang on, so how many home
seven
games
different
have they
venues
played?
in 7 weeks, and then they've got, opening round was at NG, like you said, and
What about
Yeah.
round 10?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Have they not played at home?
No, they've played 2 games at NG and games at Manuka and a game at Manuka.
So that's their 3 home games, and then
They
I guess
had-
That is
Norwood
crazy.
might have been
Norwood
a
might have been their home
game if that counted. I mean, not really, obviously,
Yeah,
but
it's like
I guess neutral ground.
yeah.
No, that does deserve an award.
And
So
then you've got like Pendle's getting rested
Yeah.
to avoid going to Perth, and then it's like
The old
what are you
legs
gonna-
don't do well on planes anymore,
Yeah.
especially
So-
the 3 or 4 hour.
And what does the rest of their year look like then?
I
is
think
this-
I think it happens every year because
can't.
I think they've got the showgrounds because they've got the actual showgrounds fair or whatever it is at their home ground and like Easter.
Yeah.
So they're never playing there in Easter
Okay.
or after it. So they're usually they've got a Manuka game, and the AFL gives them maybe an extra away game here early into the season, and they'll have an extra home game in the second half of the season. So it happens most years from memory.
Yeah.
Generally, will.
So they're still to play. So they're playing NG, Marvel, Gabba, which I haven't done yet.
No, they haven't played at the Gabby yet.
Yeah. NG, Optus, NG. Yeah, they've still got a lot of traveling to do,
Oh, yeah, get the miles up.
and people first as well. But otherwise, it's there's a lot more. Award. That's a very well deserved award.
Yeah, go the Giants.
What's your award?
Mine's the Excuse Me Award.
You're excused.
Thank you. For Dwayne Russell. This is the second time we've mentioned Dwayne on the shout out to Dwayne.
Yeah.
Go Dwayne.
The voice.
For I think a few fans were rattled when he said Lockie Ash was arguably the best player in the comp. Now I love Lockie Ash.
And he said arguably.
And he said arguably, so I don't mind, and I don't mind Dwayne either. But I think a few fans were a bit puzzled when he was saying, did he just say that about Lockie Ash, who halfback flanker, who's arguably all Australian quality this year?
Yeah,
but
I think it's because a lot of people don't know who Lockie Ash is.
yeah, that's too. But to be fair, I think he's probably not top 10 for the year. And I think it's because Champion Data have him as their number one player, or had him number one player up until the weekend. So maybe that's why Dwayne's run with that. And he's obviously had to throw in the arguably, as you mentioned. So just a little excuse me, because I think I saw about 4 or 5 people going to Dwayne just say, what do I think he said? And even in one of my just inboxes, they're just like, did I just what's going on here?
I like it though. It's
So-
like
Back your stats, man.
Yeah, it's backed
Yeah.
by stats. He's got an actual argument for it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they do their rankings.
The
So
player
I don't think it's off
ratings,
the player ratings exactly, but I think it might take into their last X amount of games,
Yeah,
not just this year. So
there'd be some sort of algo to it.
yeah,
Oh, that'd have to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I assume a lot of it is to do with like efficiency and stuff though too.
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Score involved.
there's some certain stats that are certainly weighted quite heavy, and others that aren't.
Yeah,
But he's picking up 30 touches and using it quite well. So
yeah.
Creating
there's an
scores
argument
off as
for
well.
him, but I thought it's still a bit puzzling to say.
One. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my award is the Still Not Wrong award, and I'm awarding it to myself
Oh my god.
because
I know we said we're doing this every weekend.
We're doing this
every week. But this is, you've brought an end to the.
We'll have to manage it next week
This
as
is-
well.
I deserve this because we can play back the tape. I can clip it up. We go back to our preseason predictions. Everyone tipped Richmond for the spoon. I think some people said that they might not win a game, and I was the only one that did not put Richmond as my wooden spooners. Granted, I did put St Kilda.
yes, I
I
was
did
about
say
to
St
say.
Kilda were going to win
Was
the
that-
spoon, but the more important thing is that I said that Richmond were not going to win the spoon, and that was
But then you
on.
also said St Kilda would. Like if you said West Coast, then sure.
No. Ignore that part.
So
Ignore that part.
half of the
The
coin.
important part is
There's
that
a-
Richmond would not be winning the spoon.
If we're getting actual trophies, this is going to have the biggest asterisk on it.
It's still a trophy. But again, and to be fair, I didn't think they were going to win 3 games for the entire season. I thought they were going to win 2. I thought
they've done, done better than what a lot of people said they wouldn't win a game, and they've got 3 in 9 weeks. So
so they could win. I mean, they could go winless for the rest of the season, but I don't think they.
Well, they got North this week. They could have 4 wins.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I mean, go me. I get that award.
If St. Kilda
right.
win the wooden spoon, I'll get
Tattoo
into
my face.
No.
Tattoo.
No. I'll get in the Muay Thai and I'll let you beat me up in Muay Thai.
All right. Yeah. No, that's way better than a tattoo.
Because you're actually trained in Muay Thai, and I
We wanted to do that for ages.
I don't think I've ever seen. I don't even know what Muay Thai.
I
is.
think at the end of the
I'm gonna 2 pads.
At the end of the year, we should get in the ring regardless, because I think we just need to blow off some steam. All right. AFL 26 is coming out.
It's out.
Has come out.
It is out?
It is
last
out.
Thursday.
Oh, okay. All
We're
right.
back.
You've got a little player rating guessing game for us.
Well, do you have any idea how the ratings will work?
Nope.
So I think Bont's the best. Oh, Cripps is the best at 94 overall. I think the worst
94?
94 overall. So that's what you're looking at. The best.
So it's not
best player-
rated on like a
Scale,
bell curve
someone's gotta
situation.
be the
It's
top.
just...
No, I think it's they do the ratings and then they.
No, it's kind of like a bell curve, isn't it? Like
as in
a
there's
lot.
not 99.
There's very.
No, it's not like
There's only
like
there's
2K.
only 25 rated at 90 or above.
Yeah.
In the comp.
right, but it's not like a rankings where there's a clear number. There's a number 1, blah blah blah. It's just like, you know what I mean?
There's a number 1, blah blah blah. That's
Yeah. No, so it's like not a person. It's not like a number. Like it's not one person at the top,
and then
the next person, the next
No.
person. Yeah.
So you could. I think there's like.
It's ratings,
I think there's
it's
like
not rankings.
2 or
ratings. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's like 2 or 3 that are.
But Cripps is only 94 out of 100.
Well, he's top. Yeah, I don't think anyone gets 100. Like
It's not like 2K where there's 99.
2K, you
it's
get
like
99.
LeBron or-
FIFA's like
Yeah.
your 94, 95s where you hit the top. So anyway, I'm just going to name some random players, and I just want to see if you can figure out what they're rated. So I
Okay.
just want to hear what you 2 would guess they're rated in the game. So we'll do about 4 or 5.
So it's
See how
like
we go.
out of 100.
Well, it's kind of out of 100.
Well,
but like
it's
no
like
one's,
the
no
lowest.
one's
No one's lower than like
essentially
60.
it's out of
40,
94,
48.
so it's
48's the lowest.
48 is the lowest.
Yeah.
That's low.
Do you know who the lowest is?
Yeah. I don't want to say it's rude.
Why? It's out there.
He's already having a bad year.
Oh, really?
No, I'm more interested in this now. Who do you reckon is the lowest rated?
Victorian club?
Yeah, is it a Victorian club?
Has he played most games?
It's going to be someone from
He's-
North or
I think
something?
I think he
Injured.
played 3 games before he got injured.
Okay, so big injury. Oh.
You got to think about who they're going to give the lowest ratings to.
It'd be someone from... Is it from like a North?
No. I just love how you went there, though. Just like,
Why? Because
just assume North had the worst player.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not the worst player, but
Or
it is North.
Richmond.
no, it's not North.
Oh.
Is it Richmond?
No.
Oh. So who's played 3 games and...
I think he played 3
And he got
games
injured.
and he got injured, and he's
Bad
not,
injury?
not playing again this year.
Oh. Okay, Achilles,
Oh.
ACL. They're
Nah.
probably, they're probably the 2.
He was a recruit.
ACL, recruit...
Jeez, see, this is what I
This
didn't
is
want
great.
to
This
do.
is... I'd be... No, you have to tell us now.
It's Tom Edwards at Essendon.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Got-
Yep.
You know,
That makes sense.
gets a contract in Feb.
Yeah, did his name. He's
Yeah,
actually
did his
playing
name.
alright. He probably
He's
was
fine.
was he...
Stiff. I
Yeah,
reckon
He was
stiff.
a primary school teacher in WA.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. He was teaching kids one day and
Yeah.
he played Essendon the next.
Oh, man. His
Maybe we
students
should
would be
just gone.
laying into
We
him.
should just gone all the bottom. Just guess the worst 5
Yeah.
players.
Oh, that poor dude.
I think it was all just the SSP pickups, like Harry
Yeah,
Boyd
yeah.
and all those
Yeah.
guys.
Probably don't have enough.
Wait, so how much game time has actually had?
He's played 3 games.
Yeah, but like surely not like full. Like he's not he's not playing 100% game time.
What?
No, in order to be like the lowest rated,
Yeah.
like surely it's just because he's like he didn't have that much game time and he just
Well, I don't know
And,
when the
like-
ratings like kind of work because it seemed like they're going off last year more than this season.
No, okay,
they got
yeah,
the
yeah,
So they've just
yeah.
gone like this guy. Yeah, he's playing in the waffle. He's okay.
Yeah.
okay.
But I think because they have VFL and I don't know if they have Sample and Waffle as well, but they have those guys already. So maybe
okay,
they just
right,
had the rating
right.
for him
Yeah.
and then
God,
just
that's
thought,
rough.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, let's go some random guys, shall we?
Yeah.
Steel side bottom.
Ooh. Okay. Wait. So you're saying it's based
I don't-
more off last
yeah,
year?
it hasn't been weighted to this year.
I
I
want
don't
to say
think.
77.
Nah. He'd be like mid to high 80s, I reckon.
No, but I think that's because he's playing good this year. I don't think last year he was that good. He was almost dropped.
Damn.
And he played half back in the wing. They threw him around. This year, he'd be 95.
He'd be.
Well, he hasn't, but
Yeah.
no. I'm gonna say 80. Is it just closest to whoever wins?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You want to put a tattoo on this?
No, no.
82.
Nailed it. There you go.
Damn.
What was your guess?
77.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I had reasons for that.
Bailey Smith.
Oh, okay. So if we're going off,
Last
we're
year.
taking last year into account.
Didn't play.
61.
48.
Nah.
77.
You know what? If we're taking last year into account, I'm gonna say 64.
Well, like they'll take the earlier years as well. It was 79, so 2
Okay.
I'll take that.
Or earlier, right?
He was a stub prior to.
Okay.
Who should I do here? Jack Darling.
Oh, Jack Darling. Okay, I haven't watched enough.
71 with no confidence in that whatsoever.
I'm gonna say, because I'm thinking of it like, I'm gonna say 78.
Correct.
What?
He's 2 and 2. Well, he's
Mate,
2
it's
from
all
3.
vibes.
Can you see that screen?
I genuinely, no.
Yeah, sure.
You got 2 bang on. I've got
Mate,
close.
it's vibes. Just listen to your heart.
I am, and it's wrong.
I'm trying to think of one. Harry Mackay.
Oh,
Oh.
he'd be up there.
Yeah, common medalist.
I'm gonna say, I'd put him high 80s. I'm gonna say 87.
I'm gonna say 85.
88. You were close. All right, last one.
Mate, you're so lucky you didn't do it. Tattoo.
I'm just going to scroll and just do a random player. And you're just going to have to guess. Jack Carroll at St Kilda.
Oh,
He's
got
got
who that is. Random player from St Kilda. I'm gonna say 61.
I was gonna say. I want to say 59.
67. You're close again.
Gee, we really did him dirty there, didn't we?
Actually, one fun one. You might have seen this one. What did Bailey Banfield get rated?
Bailey Banfield. Oh, did he get
Was that
rated
like-
weirdly high?
Oh, I thought it was okay.
Nah.
82.
88.
87.
What?
Yeah.
He's as good as Harry Mackay. What they reckon?
Because I remember like when AFL 25 came out.
There was 23.
23.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
yeah.
was it 23?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they brought out like in the 23 season. So it, like, cause now this one they brought out AFL 26.
I was working here though
2020.
when have I been here for that long? Damn. Jesus.
They're there.
All right. Okay. So yeah, all right, that's interesting.
What were you going to say? Because all the ratings were just whack.
Yeah, just like none of it really made that much sense.
No,
but I
it's
forgot
so-
if that all was taken into previous years. Into
Yeah,
account.
but like the
Yeah.
one they did in 23 was just like, I don't know what they based it on. at
Yeah.
all. This one's a lot more accurate,
Yeah.
except for Bailey Banfield.
Shots fired. All right. Next thing, we went to the mailbag.
We did.
We haven't done a mailbag for a while. So this, so by the way, if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, we'll put out a mailbag post on Sundays usually, and then we'll read out your questions or your hot takes or whatever on the podcast.
Also, implore voice messages. By all means,
okay.
Feel free to send in a voice message if you don't want to like.
You
send
want
us a-
that? Are you
Well,
sure?
I'm happy to. Like,
Okay.
we'll listen to them before we put it up.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? We'll blindly put it.
We'll listen to them first, like live on the podcast, I reckon.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
reckon
We'll
that'd be
blindly put them up.
Oh, that'll
great.
be
Love
good.
it. Okay.
That could be good.
We
Anyway,
probably need someone to listen to them.
so this is the part I had about the mailbag though. I was like, there's just names here that I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce this, and I'm sorry. But you seem like a real person with a real name. Kefe Merrill. He had a question. Could Will Verrill be the next ruck for Melbourne when Gawn retires?
I think the D's will want that. Like they'll want him to be the
Yeah.
next ruckman. They haven't got many else on their list,
No.
to be honest.
Fullerton, I think so.
Well, Fullerton's like a ruck forward, and I don't think he's done enough at AFL level. There's that Luke Jackson link that probably won't go away for a little bit. So if it's not Jackson, it could be. The thing about rucks is like the first string rucks usually are getting picked up from elsewhere and being brought in. So it's going to be quite fascinating to see. You know, Will's probably not the most known player, and he does okay in the VFL. I don't think he's tearing it down, but he's still pretty early in his career. So Gawn's got another 2 years on his contract after this year. So, and the way he's playing at the moment, he probably could see both of those years out. So at that point, they'll hope that someone like Will Verrill's, ready to contend and has kind of broken through a little bit and pushing his case. But yeah, he's probably, it would be the favourite if it's not Luke Jackson.
Yeah. I think the ideal as a D's fan is that Gawn just continues to play for another 5 to 10 years, but he gets a chop out by someone like a Fullerton or a Verrill, who can play, like a ruck forward or something. It's just weird that we haven't developed any other rucks while Gawn's been there. Like, because you'd think that if you're training with Gawny, apart from like Luke Jackson, say, if you're training with Gawny every week, you'd think that another ruck would.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, there's a couple sides to it. Like, you're training with Max, so you're learning off the best, but at the same time, you're going up against the best. So it might really stunt your development. And at the same time, they're probably going to look at it and be like, well, I'm not going to be the first string ruckman for 3-4 years. And that's what, Luke Jackson wanted to go home. That's one thing. But at the same time, if he was their first string ruckman, it might have been a bit different for him. So if they can get him back, it's perfect for them. Like, they get a guy to chop out Max who can play forward, but then at the same time, Luke Jackson's been, I think, it was the most efficient ruckman. But like, this was before he came back into the side after his injury. So he was already the most efficient ruckman in the comp. So, and he's 23, 24. So they've got good 8 years of his career at least. But at the time of speaking, he's a Dockers player and he's contracted for 6-7 years, I think. So, all eyes on Will Verrill.
Yep. Okay. Next one from Jaden Ragona. I'm going to go to you for this one, Aidan, because it's a good take. Steel side bottom is borderline in the AA team. I don't think it's borderline. I reckon it's.
I think he's probably at this stage well and truly in that team, whether it's on the bench as well. Going based off a few stats, so he's equal second in the AFL coaches votes, which is pretty good indicator where, they sit among opponents in the competition. But his season to date has been pretty awesome, especially coming from a traditional wing role, halfback role last year, and then just being thrusted into the midfield in the absence of Tagoe, at times Tom Mitchell as well. So that kind of experienced head. And obviously Pendlebury on the weekend, I know he got managed throughout that game and was subbed out, but his first 8 weeks have been pretty superb at the age, I think, 34. And he's still kind of finding ways to impact the game at such a high level. So I think at this stage, it is a long year, but I would say without any bias whatsoever that, he'd be in the side of the AA side, sorry.
I think it'd be tough.
Yeah. The interesting one with those guys like Sidebottom and Pendles and stuff, and has Sidebottom been managed yet in the same way that Pendles has?
No, so he hasn't missed a game, but he was sub.
He might get managed this week.
Yeah, if they can keep that going, like if he can keep this form going for the rest of the year, then
I think he's probably in the best 22. He's not a wingman anymore, so if he was, he'd just be slotting right back onto that wing. But then you got to compare him to all the other inside midfielders, and he's putting up crazy numbers. But I probably would have 4 to 5 midfielders ahead of him. So I don't think he starts.
Well, he's definitely in the squad.
Yeah, he's in the squad, undoubtedly. Like you said, he could get a bench spot, could get squeezed out, or the selectors could just be like, screw it, put him on a wing. Yeah. And he's on a wing. Like,
or just put him in the forward pocket or something like that.
I just don't like that though.
No, I don't necessarily either.
I was being sarcastic. They should not do that.
Wings, like, it's just.
I love your steel, but no.
The wings will look so out of place from a quality perspective. But if you actually are picking on roles, then I'd like it.
Yeah.
Who were the wings last year? Dacos actually got on them.
I think
probably Errol, maybe.
Yeah,
Errol, probably. Like, he does
okay.
kind of play wing, Errol, but he kind of then moves inside up once the ball's kind of been bounced. So he's a bit of a different one. But he starts on the wing.
I feel like I remember last year there being the sentiment that they actually picked wings on the wing last year, and that was a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. Josh Dacos got it a couple of years ago, but then like a few years before them, like McCluggage and Carl Amon got overlooked.
Yeah.
Like McCluggage got overlooked about 2-3 years in a row, and he was easily the best wingman, but they just don't pick wingers.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. That's the mailbag. Jump onto our socials and submit some stuff, maybe some unhinged voice notes. Mitch likes those, apparently. Next thing, I brought this in. So Jack Della Maddalena has become the second Australian UFC champion. Current. There has been also Robert Whittaker. And then, of course, Alex Volkanovski. But it's always a fun thought experiment to see or think about what athletes from other sports you would like to see in the AFL. So, but we're not doing NBA or NFL because I think that's sort of a cheat. Because I think it's pretty clear.
I don't know if there'd be
or rugby league because we've had that.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any NFL.
Oh, there'd be some
Oh.
NFL like
Aussies though. Like Jordan Mailata's, he'd be good in rugby league, but he wouldn't be good in the AFL.
in the AFL. Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
way too big.
Well,
Yeah.
my pick is Alex Volkanovski because he's like my height, and I think he would just like be a brutal.
Is he your height?
Yeah, he's 5'6", something like that.
Jesus.
He's featherweight.
Beat him up.
Yeah, but imagine him in the forward pocket, like a UFC fighter in the forward
Good
pocket.
fend
I would
off.
love to see that.
Good fend
Good
off
fend
and
off.
good tackling.
And he comes into like a little melee. You just everyone's gonna.
Yeah.
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 Put him in the showdown. That'd be fun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he has I think he supports Sydney, so
Yeah.
he'd
He
be,
played.
yeah.
I've seen him
He
in the
played
rooms at
rugby
Sydney.
as a junior, didn't he?
Yeah, he played rugby. I think rugby league as a
Yeah, okay.
junior. So like he's already got that background. But I would love to see someone with his like athleticism on an AFL list.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I would have thought like someone like Jock Landale, but he's NBA. Could do Alex Condon, even though because he's not in the NBA yet, but he's going to get drafted. So real just.
No, we're sick of AFL basketball.
You said not NRL either.
Yeah, not
my-
NRL. No, because we've literally had that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was going to say Mitch Woods for Canterbury. Like he was literally a
No.
Swans Academy player. He was pretty good, but he just picked rugby.
Yeah.
Now I've got to think about this, don't I?
I've got one.
Well, that's the whole point. Yeah.
Pop to mind. Ash Barty for the women.
Ash Barty.
so
Yeah,
avid
that's
Tigers
a good
fan
one.
and born winner. I know she's kind of retired early, doing
Yeah.
her thing.
She's
but
Sam Kerr as well.
Sam Kerr's actually
She'd
really
tear
good
up the
one.
AFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah.
it's not a bad one either. But yeah, I was thinking when we brought this up, I was like, yeah, Ash Barty.
Ash
I don't know
Barty's a good
why
pick.
it
I
popped,
like
one.
that.
popped in my mind, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Kerr and Gout. Put him on the wing.
Oh, yeah.
No one's like, no
Yeah.
one's
Yeah,
no one's
yeah.
touched.
I was staring us at the
Kick it
face,
into
Gout.
space and he's there. He's only 16 though, so he's like can't even
He's not even
17.
eligible for the draft.
Can't
Yeah.
even play yet.
Put him in
so-
the champ. See how he
Yeah,
goes.
get him on your academy, and he'll be all right. There you go.
That was like when remember when was it Usain Bolt that
He played Central Coast
played
Mariners.
Central Coast? Yeah.
He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't like quality.
Nah, he
wasn't
wasn't
up to
good.
quality. He was just
Yeah.
obviously quick.
It was just because he was a good runner that you just
I
like.
can't believe that happened. I
Yeah,
thought that was like
it's
a
like
dream.
a weird fever dream.
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, round 10. Next week.
That's what we're talking about this
What we
week. Good question. We talked about Hawks and Suns already on Thursday night. Sydney Carlton Friday night might be okay, but I think Collingwood Adelaide kicking off Saturday. That's going to be a ripper.
Yeah.
A lot of close games between those two over the last few
I think
years.
the last 3 or 4 been decided by under 10
Yeah.
points. So generally close games. And Crows are flying at the moment. Obviously, everyone knows the Pies are doing okay too. So at the G should be a pretty good contest.
Yeah, don't really like the look of Sunday. Although, to be fair, Richmond, North Melbourne, like, if the Tigers ever just wanted to win one game this year, it'll be against North. Smash them,
Yeah.
get them as low as on the ladder as they possibly can, and then clean up their first round pick come November. So, that could be an interesting one. But the rest of the day, I don't think it's going to be as close as what we had on Sunday for round 9. So, just take in Saturday footy as much as you can, I guess.
Suns Hawks is going to be awesome. What are you looking at?
Yeah, Suns Hawks. Thursday night fixture. The Suns don't get many of these primetime slots. Up in Darwin as well. Suits their game style. And Hawthorn, after maybe a little slump a couple of weeks ago, they're kind of getting back onto their feet and into some good form. So should be, in theory, a really close game. Following on from round 9 as well, which is good.
You got your zero hanger tips in for this week yet?
Nope.
Hey, do you know have you been doing your tips?
I have been doing my tips.
Oh, God.
I don't know where I'm sitting.
You are. I shouldn't do this because I'm doing terribly. You're 74th.
74.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
Really?
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
Oh, top 100.
I'm 147.
I don't think-
I keep chasing all the points, and it's just like it's just like it's not worth it.
Where's Aidan at?
Aidan
probably
is
kept-
163rd.
Damn.
So someone's also been chasing points.
What about Callum? Because he brought up tipping a couple of weeks ago just because he was doing really well.
130th.
Damn, he dropped.
So you're just
I'm leading.
That's a fall from
I'm
grace.
saying,
Yeah.
it's all vibes.
shout out to Brendan R, who's leading.
Go
Brendan.
Brendan Rogers is
Brendan
leading.
R.
Brendan
Is that
Rogers.
actually-
That's not his name. He's just an
Oh, okay.
old Liverpool manager.
Well done, Brendan R. All right, that's it. What's anything happening on zerohanger.com apart from tipping? Streaker.
Yeah, go play Straker.
Yep.
It's fun. Footy names and stuff.
Footy names is a good one.
What is coming up? It's a good question.
So Doug, Indigenous round.
Yeah, I got the Indigenous round the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
That'll be
Oh,
cool.
have you seen the Adelaide Guernsey?
Yeah, that's
I
really
haven't
good.
seen.
Adelaide
I've seen a
Guernsey looks
couple.
Awesome.
Does
Yeah.
it? I'm
Adelaide's
going to look
really
it
good.
up one sec.
A few
We should
more-
do a rankings of
Yeah.
all the designs and stuff next
I
week.
think a few more clubs still have theirs to be released. I'm assuming this week because I'm pretty sure
It
most
looks
of them
like
have to
last
wear it.
year's.
But Yeah, there's a few rippers already out there.
Yeah, I think Adelaide's just
Adelaide
always
Boilies.
looks good because of the colours.
Colours and the animals associated with them as well. Is pretty
Yeah.
cool. They can do a lot with it. They
I
can
can't
work
find it.
with a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Graham Johncock, also a former Adelaide player. He designed it, which is pretty cool.
yeah, it's neat.
Damn.
That's cool. Yeah, let's rank them next week.
Yeah.
Isaac.
If they're all out. That's
right.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, that is it. Thank you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Send more stuff into the mailbag next week, and we'll catch you again next week. I said next week too many times.
Next
Bye.
week.
Next week.